Hello students, today in geography we're looking at the methods of representing reliefs on a map. This topic is under map interpretation, and in our previous lesson we talked about reliefs and forms of reliefs. So today we're looking at how to represent these reliefs on a map. The first method we're looking at is contour. A contour is a line drawn on a topographic map to indicate ground elevation or depression. A contour interval is the vertical distance or difference in elevation between contour lines. The image on the screen is what a contour looks like on a map. This is a contour. Now we have a spot elevation. They are the heights between contour lines. Now when these contour lines are close together, it shows a steeper slope. This is a slope. This contour line is showing a slope. When they are close together, just like what we have here, it shows a steeper slope. Now when the contour lines are far apart, it shows a gentler slope. Let's look at another feature, the benchmark. The benchmark on a map corresponds to a metal plate placed in real-world environment, which is also called a benchmark. This is a spot where cartographers have precisely calculated the latitude, the longitude, and the elevation. The intent is for them to use it as reference point for future map makers. This is what a benchmark looks like. And this benchmark is used to mark the area of a land, a topography, show the latitude, longitude, and the elevation. The next form of picture we're looking at is hill shading. Hill shading is a technique used to create relief maps showing the topographical shape of hills and mountains using shadings on a map to indicate the relative slopes, mountain ridges, etc. Here now we have, you can see the way these features are shaded here. This is a feature, this is a feature, this is a feature. So it seems to make it more visible to the person who is trying to interpret the map. Another feature is the line. A contour line is a line drawn on a topographic map to indicate ground elevation or depression. A contour interval is a vertical distance or difference between elevation between contour lines. Index contours are bold or thicker lines that appear at every fifth contour line. Look at this contour line, just like when we talked about contour before. The lines are close together here, showing a steeper slope. When the lines are far apart, it shows that the slope is not steep, it's just gentle or mild. Go the image on this side too. Now let's look at another feature, hatchers. A hatchers are strokes drawn in the direction of the steepest slope. Steeper slopes are represented by thicker, shorter strokes, while gentler slopes are represented by thinner, longer, and further apart slopes. This is an example of a hatcher. Here, if you look at the image closely, you see that some of these lines are short. Here we have short lines, and it shows that the slope here is steep. When we have thicker, here we have thin lines, it shows that the slope is not steep here. But here we have thicker lines, shorter lines. Here, if you follow my cursor, you see that the lines here are thicker and shorter. You also have a thicker, shorter line here. You have a thicker, shorter line here. These are the areas where the slope is the steepest, where the slope is very steep. Where here now, we have the lines are far apart. They are not that dark. The areas I'm touching now with my cursor, the lines are not that short. The lines are thinner and longer and far apart. It shows that the slopes are gentler on this side. This how to interpret a hatchet on a map. Now another feature we'll be looking at is the spot height. A spot height is the height of a particular point or altitude on the ground. It is generally found on maps which shows the height of a particular hill or mountain. It is measured from mean sea level. We have an image on the screen and we are seeing spot heights at benchmark. This is spot height. This is spot height. This is a contour. This is spot height. The area where my cursor is touching, it's a spot height. These are heights of a particular point or altitude on the ground. and it is found on maps which shows the height of a particular hill. So this is showing the height of a particular hill. All these places where we have spot heights, they show the height of a particular hill. Another feature we'll be looking at is the trigonometrical station. A trig point is a fixed surveying station for the geodetic surveying and other surveying projects on nearby area. This is a trig point. This is a trig point. This is a trig point or trigonometrical stations. They are used by surveyors to show the geodetic surveying or projects of an area of a particular topography. Let's look at the assessment session. This is where we'll be drawing the curtain to do on this topic. On our assessment session today, first question is, what is a trig point? Question number 2 says, what is a contour line? Drop your answer at the comment section. That will be all for today. Thank you for watching and join us in our next demo.